of Olympus. The Blood of Olympus by Rick Riordan. Chapter 1. Jason. Jason hated being old. His joints hurt, his legs shook as he tried to climb down the hill. His lungs rattled like a box of rocks. He couldn't see his face, thank goodness, but his fingers were gnarled and bony. Bulging blue veins wedged at the back of his hands. He even had that old man smell, mothballs and chicken soup. How was that possible? He'd gone from 16 to 75 in a matter of seconds, but the old man's stink had happened instantly. Like boom, congratulations, you stink. Almost there, Piper smiled at him. You're doing great. Easy for her to say. Piper and Annabeth were disguised as lovely Greek serving maids, in their white sleeveless dress and gowns and laced sandals. They had no trouble navigating the rocky path. Piper's mahogany hair was pinned in a braided spiral. Silver bracelets adorned her arms. She resembled an ancient statue of her mother, Aphrodite, which Jason found a little intimidating. Dating a beautiful girl was nerve-wracking enough. Dating a girl whose mum was the goddess of love, well, Jason was already afraid he'd do something unromantic, and Piper's mum would frown down from Olympus and change him into a fur hog. Jason glanced up the hill. The summit was still 100 yards away. Worst idea ever. He leaned against a cedar tree which wiped his forehead. Hazel's magic is too good. If I have to fight, I'll be useless. It won't come to that, Annabeth promised. She looked uncomfortable in her serving maid outfit. She kept hunching her shoulders to keep the dress from slipping. Her pinned-up blonde bun had come undone in the back of her hair and dangled like long spider's legs. Knowing her hatred of spiders, Jason decided not to mention that. We'll infiltrate the palace, she said. We'll get the information we need and get out. Piper set down the ambrosia. The tall ceramic jar of wine which stood in her sword was hidden. We can rest for a second. Catch your breath, Jason. From her waist cord hung the cornucopia, the magic horn of plenty. Tucked somewhere in the folds of her dress was her knife, catoptris. Piper didn't look dangerous, but if she needed to roast, she could dual-wield a celestial bronze blade or shoot her enemies in the face with ripe mangoes. Annabeth slung her own amphora off her shoulder. She too had a concealed sword, but even without a visible weapon, she looked deadly. Her stormy grey eyes scanned the surroundings, alert for any threat. If any dude would ask Annabeth for a drink, Jason figured she was more likely to kick the guy in the bifurcum. He tried to steady his breathing. Below them, Africa's Bay glittered, the water so blue it might have dyed with blue colouring. A few hundred yards offshore, the Argo II rested its anchor. Its white sails looked no bigger than postage stamps, its 90 oars like toothpicks. Jason imagined his friends on deck following his progress, taking turns with Leo's spyglass, trying not to laugh as they watched Grandpa Jason hobble up the hill. Stupid Ithaca, he muttered. He supposed the island was pretty enough. A spine of forest hills twisted down to its centre. Chalky white slopes plunged into the sea. Inlets formed rocky beaches and nestled against the shoreline. The hills were dotted with poppies, crocus, wild cherry trees. The breeze smelling of blue meth.